What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna give Kathy the full soap opera while you try to trick a lady with a head injury. We might not be the best people.
But we're not the worst.
Graduate
students are the worst.
Hi, Professor Like and Alex, this is Erin. I just thought I'd give you a brief overview of this project. This is the site that I'm working at, Aztec Ruins. You can see it's a huge masonry complex. This is probably what it would have looked like in the 12th century. And this is what it looks like now during excavation. It's been around since the 1870s that Anglos have sort of been in touch with it, and it looks like modern pueblos today, from the descendants who lived there from Hopi and places like that. It was dug by this guy, Earl Morris, who founded the CU Museum of Natural History. And it was excavated in the 1910s by a number of sort of unskilled laborers who worked with hand tools and carts and things like that. And they found extraordinary things, mealing bins and plaster on the walls with inscriptions, incredible preservation of wood and tools, pottery, lots of roofs and floors that were still intact, lots of mummies and bundles and skeletons with all kinds of data associated with them, the burial of the warrior with a shield, and even road systems that went all across the canyon. So this is my primary data that I'm going to be using, none of it which is sort of GIS friendly, but these are the data that I'd like to capture in some sort of GIS project. But they're not very formal. So these things are maps from the 1910s that never sort of really got entered. So I have relational data, but not specifically vector data, even though this is the sort of thing that really would be helpful in answering my larger questions. And then since it's an NPS property, they've made maps since then. But again, this is in the 80s, so the spatial data are quite bad. And these are pictures of the fact that the building's been modified since then. This is what it looks like to this day. So I have ancient data, modern modified data, and all kinds of really crappy maps. And in addition to sort of just the basic survey of that site, I'd also like to look at some of the surrounding sites that have been examined. And this is an area to the north, and I have maps sort of similar to this. And I know this is getting beyond the scope with LiDAR and other sites that are surrounded in this area. But this is kind of an idea of the other sorts of data that I'd like to incorporate into an overall GIS map. So I do have, this is what the site looks like now. This is the most up-to-date map that I've been using and coloring. And this is an example of what's been changed by the National Park Service, that data gets lost through the reconstruction and preservation of these buildings, which is why I'm looking at these 1920s photographs. But these are sort of some of my main questions. And how did these buildings evolve? What was in each room? Was there evidence of earlier structures? And can I use those photographs? And I'm just not quite sure or quite up on how GIS works to really incorporate uncertainty. So that's what I'm really looking at this point. And I'd really appreciate any help in helping me sort of learn about this building. So that's just a brief overview, and I'd like to come and talk to you maybe more in depth when things settle down during this semester, and maybe you guys have more time to chat. But thanks very much. Appreciate your time.